Well, I messed up with my music, but anyway, let's go, Vito. We're live. So, hello everybody. We're live coming from WJZZ Detroit Cool TV, and tonight is first episode of Strictly Business, and I've got a treat for everybody. I can have the super cop, Hilton Napoleon. Reason why I call him the super cop is because from what I can gather, he's been in law enforcement almost all of his life, and so you know, when you hear his resume, and you'll see why I called him that. And then he bounced back from a severe battle with COVID too. So we're gonna get into all that. But right now, everybody, I want to introduce you to Hilton Napoleon. So, Mr. Napoleon, Chief, come
How
on
you
in.
doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for doing the show, our first episode. So I thank you, and everybody knows that you are the elder brother of Benny Napoleon, beloved Benny Napoleon, right? And
Yes.
and we lost uh, um, him to COVID right after you came out of it. And so we want to send our prayers and acknowledge him. I personally knew him, and he was gracious with me. Uh, so I forgot to turn my phone off. Everybody, forgive me for that. But anyway, yeah, we only know you. Most of us, the lay people of Detroit, only know you as his brother, and some of us know you about your law enforcement in Inkster and Highland Park. But tell us more about yourself and your accomplishments.
Well, I'm a graduate of Cass Tech High School, Cass Technical High School, and from Cass Technical High School, I attended Kentucky State University, which is a HBCU in Frankfort, Kentucky, on a baseball scholarship. And once I finished down at Kentucky State, I applied for the Detroit Police Department. I reactivated my file, and I got hired in 1977, about a year after I finished at Kentucky State. Um, from there, I spent 29 years on the Detroit Police Department. I worked, my first assignment was the precinct patrol in the 11th precinct, the old 11th precinct, 3812 East Davison.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I, uh, I went and transferred to the gang squad, and I worked there. And while at the gang squad, I took the sergeant's exam and got promoted to sergeant. And from there, I was assigned to the homicide section. And after spending about 3 years down there at homicide, I was asked to be the chief of staff for the deputy chief of Eastern Operations, who was in charge of all of the East Side precincts, 7 East Side precincts. And so I was his chief of staff there until I got uh, promoted to lieutenant. And and then I was assigned to the carjacking task force. I was the commanding officer of the carjacking task force, which was a multi-jurisdictional task force that consisted mostly of the Detroit Police Department, but I had officers from the Macomb County Sheriff's Office, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Michigan State Police, and the city of Warren. And we investigated all carjackings in the Tri County area and the city of Detroit. So we investigated them all. From there, I got promoted uh, to inspector. I was down there at carjacking for about 6 years. And then I got promoted to an inspector, and I was assigned as the acting commander of the major crimes unit which consisted of homicide, armed robbery, tactical services, vice and licensing, and I believe armed robbery. From there, I was transferred. After spending time there, I transferred to the second precinct. I also worked at the 12th precinct as the uh, commanding officer of patrol. And finally, I retired from the sixth precinct in 2006.
Okay. From DPD, right?
Yes. And during my career with DPD, I had so much training. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy, and also I'm a graduate of Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command. And I had numerous training, too numerous to,
Right, right.
to mention.
That's why I call you the super cop, man. So you also were you did a time as chief of Inkster's Police Department and Highland Park as well, right?
Yeah, after I retired from Detroit, I was the police chief out at Inkster. I was out in Inkster for 4 years,
Okay.
as a police chief, and from there, um, I was asked to be the police chief in Highland Park uh, in January of 2020, and unfortunately, about after 2 months being there, I caught COVID.
Hmm. And it was a blow to all of your friends and family and business associates. But although you and I had only met in passing, it was a blow to me because as the president CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Highland Park, Michigan, I was looking forward to you coming on as the chief so I could feel like I had an ally in some regard to try to help with the rebuild of Highland Park. So I'm
Yeah,
happy.
there was a lot of, and I like to interject and let people know there was a lot of good things that was about ready to happen at Highland Park. I was in conversation with Mayor Yap and the other people, and there was a lot of things, a lot of development that they have going on there, and I was hoping that I could, be a part of it. But I'm still in the process of recovering,
Right.
from COVID, and because it will mess you up if you
Right.
catch it.
Right. I'm a survivor of it as well. Well, I want to say I'm personally happy that you're here with us and that you beat it. And I wish for your continued wellness and recovery. And if you want to still advise or be a counsel in any regard or capacity in Highland Park, and you want to come through the Chamber of Commerce to do it, we will be uh, counted as fortune and blessing if you would. So that invitation is open anytime you need it and however you want to facilitate it.
I appreciate that.
And so, with all that experience on the police force, you it's fair to say, regardless of anywhere in the world, you understand and know law enforcement, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Most definitely, I had a varied career because I worked in a lot of different areas, as you heard in the police, from what I just told you,
Mhm.
and uh, and so I have a very rounded view of the police department.
Right. And so the name of this show is Strictly Business. And I wanted to personally have a show that was dedicated to business and commerce and all those dynamics, but I wanted it to be edifying for the lay people so they could get an appreciation and a working knowledge of business and to appeal to the entrepreneurs and corporate leaders as well. But a lot of people don't equate. The reason I wanted you to come on today and talk about policing is because, in my opinion, my experience, policing is a business. Running a city is a business. So the mayor is in charge of a city and he has to secure his assets, secure his stakeholders, his investors, his interests. And so it goes, the policing goes to the business of not only protecting the city's um, assets and business to work properly, but it also is there as a conduit between the citizen stakeholders, the business interests, and the elected officials. So I would like you to help me explain if you agree that policing is necessary and vital for the business of a city, a local community.
Well, it's very important, and I do know that I work very closely um, with all of the business people. While working in while working throughout my law enforcement career, not only in Detroit but also Inkster and Highland Park. And it's very important that businesses have a good relationship with the police department so that we can go and address any problems or concerns that you may have so that we can uh, create an environment that will be conducive to you having a safe and prosperous business.
Right,
And it's very important that me as the police chief have a relationship with business uh, so that they have an avenue to go to when they do have issues, or coming or have an avenue that if they need something taken care of or some help, that they have a person that they can respond to.
right. And so that's a task of mine because being involved with the Chamber of Commerce, I get insight, and I want to help to make things better. You got to be part of the solution and not the problem. I want the stakeholders in every city to know, especially Detroit, but it applies to anywhere you live. In order for the businesses, whether it's entrepreneur, small business, or corporations, they not along with the what's in it for them to come into your city and bring that business, they have to feel welcome and safe. So your police department plays a vital role because if their workers, employees can't get to work, can't operate safely, if they can't, if their property is not secured, they're not inclined to come into cities, and that's one of the reasons that Highland Park and other depressed cities hurt is because of their public image, and it stops people from wanting to move into your city and reside there. So I want the stakeholders, Joe Public, to understand how the police is more than just arresting people. They actually some of the civic things. Can you help the public understand the civic role that police play in the community as a conduit?
Well, we play a role, a huge role as far as police community relations. Um, Almost every police department now has to have that, and part of that is the community relations is the business community, and you do want to have that relationship because you're not going to have no business if your city isn't safe.
Right.
And it's very important that the police department respond to the needs of the businesses, and it's extremely important. And I know that it is important for me being having worked in three cities that were, whose budgets were challenged. Uh, I know how it is to how important it is to have businesses flourish. And as a police chief, former police chief, I think that it is vitally important that the relationship between the business community and the police is vital because it goes hand in hand. The businesses are a tax base that provide taxes so that we can have, police officers. And I understand that very well because I've worked in, two challenged cities, and it's very important that you build up your tax base, and you do that with business.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna take a quick station ID real quick. I want to thank everybody for tuning in right now. You're watching live Strictly Business on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And I want everybody out there to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Uh, and watch the station, support the station, and call in. We have former chief of police for Inkster and Highland Park, and just he's been a cop forever, for generations. So if you have any questions for Hilton Napoleon, give us a call at 313-355-6018. So feel free to call in with any questions or comments. So getting back to you, sir, I don't know to call you chief or
Nah, you can just call me Hilton, Chief, whatever you feel comfortable with.
okay. So I'm glad you agree and shed some insight on how police really provide a service in a local community as much as they are appreciated and welcome. I think the relations, we can avoid some of these negative situations where the police get into uh, behaviors and conducts that they shouldn't, a la George Floyd, etc. But if we need to, I think it's always, as I've learned through my life experience, you have to do your part as well. You can't, the police are just like the rest of us. They had good days, bad days, trouble at home, financial issues, etc. But we need them, so they need to be appreciated and welcomed. And I know some of the things I advocate for the communities to do. But what do you think? As first, it's a two-part question. As far as educating the public so that they can really truly understand all the dynamics of a police force, whether it's local, county, federal, whatever. What can what do they need to know? What do they need to understand to be educated just fundamentally about law enforcement in their community?
Well, one of the things is that law enforcement has gone through a bad uh, some bad times, based upon instances that have happened in throughout this country. It's important that the leader at the top has to set the tone, because we are public servants, and I'm talking about the police department. And one of the things um, that need to be consistently done is we have to police our own house. And what I mean by that is we have to make sure that officers are treating the public the way that they need to be treated, with respect. And I do know that there has been some volatile issues that have occurred nationwide, but you just have a small group of people, officers that are involved in this conduct, and it's imperative that the police department step up. And I'm talking about even within that, the officers have to sort of police themselves, because you can't have a small group of officers destroying the reputation of the entire department. You cannot have that. And those officers, and what I mean by officers policing, I know that nobody like to say that they don't want to be what you call a snitch. But if there are problem, if we have problem officers, and officers know about it and they don't report it, then you start. That's why you have instances that you have that you had, like in Minneapolis with George Floyd, and other places in the country, where police officers have went astray and went beyond what they're supposed to be doing out there.
Right.
So we have all police departments have got to police themselves from within to expose these officers that are doing this stuff. We have a thing. We can't just take all of the good, or all the accolades and seek the accolades of the public when we have a small percentage of bad apples out there that's making it harder for the good officers that are trying to do the right thing.
Right, right. So, and I appreciate that, and I agree. Uh, Part two, I want you to take the liberty to speak for all the police, to say from a cop's point of view, what what do they want, or what would they ask for from the resident stakeholders, the citizens? What types of gestures, what types of attitude that make the police feel good about working in that and serving that community? What can we do to give back to make them feel credible and welcomed?
Well, for the most part, when you have a real strong community policing program, the citizens have been very supportive of the police department. They come, they bring us, they feed us dinner on special occasions. At least from the experiences that I have, and the citizens have been um, very responsive. One of the things that I would like to see is that when you are stopped, when citizens are stopped by the police for whatever the reason, try not to be confrontational. You know, that's what I would like to see. You don't, and especially the young people,
Right.
and I understand the way that some of them feel because of these other incidents that have been going on throughout the country. But for the most part, if you look at the city of Detroit and where you have officers that are representative of their community, which I'm very big at. Your police department has to be reflective of your community that they serve. And one of the things that I would like to see, more young people is to come on board and be part of the solution and not part of the problem. We have countless openings,
Right.
in law enforcement, but we don't have enough minority participation, not what we need.
Well, let me.
And so,
I'm
yeah.
sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to jump in while
Mhm.
that point is fresh. Can you give out some information for anyone interested about getting involved with law enforcement? What do they need to do? What is the requirement? Where do they go, etc.?
Yes, they can call any recruitment, either the Detroit Police Department or, for that matter, the Wayne County Sheriff's. I talked with Sheriff Washington. They have 300 openings over there that they cannot fill because they don't have enough candidates.
What
And
no, what is the what do you need? What's the eligibility? Like the age, the education, etc.
18 and a high school diploma or equivalent, you can
Okay.
apply for these jobs at 18 years old. Uh, but you can't have a criminal record,
Okay.
and it's very important. And one of the things that I did when I was working in Detroit, as for that matter, Inkster and Highland Park, I would always go out on career day into the high schools and middle schools and tell them the importance of keeping their record clean and staying out of trouble, because you eliminate yourself out of too many job opportunities, not just law enforcement, but if you want to be a fireman, a teacher, or anything, you got to keep your record clean. You can't get in trouble.
Okay. And you say that it's they really want and need minority officers in different capacities on the local police departments and sheriffs, right?
Yes. Well, really, it's not only local here, it's all over the country,
Oh, okay.
and stuff. But see, one of the things that has happened, that I've seen, the culture is that when you look at, and I don't want to, just wholeheartedly blame it on, the music rap industry,
Hmm.
but, a lot of young people do not think it's cool to be the police,
Right, right. I
but
got.
they are the ones that's complaining about what's going on.
Mhm.
So if you want to stop complaining and come join and be part of the problem so that you can be the change.
Okay. I got you. And I want to make a little sidebar because I happen to know a lot of professional entertainers, especially in hip hop. A lot of them use off duty or retired officers for their private security. So
That,
that's
yeah, that's true. And but see, you got two personas. You
yeah,
got this public persona that they put out, you know, but
right,
then what you said is true. Behind the scenes, they're
yeah.
looking for, either retired officers or off-duty police officers, to do security and to protect them.
And not only that, as a promoter and knowing other promoters, I know different managers and handlers call ahead of time when they know that their artist is coming to a city. They call ahead of time and a lot of times ask for extra police protection and extra escort and et cetera, et cetera. So these hardcore rappers use a lot of police services, like you said, behind the scenes. So everybody need to step up and just appreciate and respect the game, as it were, and
Right.
stay play your position, like they say out there. Play your position.
Yeah, because I had an opportunity to, like you said, work on the movie 8 Mile with Eminem,
Mhm.
as the security consultant, and and just like you said, they were worried about things being disrupted with this gang type stuff, and so I had to make sure that I gave them everything that they need so that they had the proper security on the set. And
Okay,
so, just like you said, a lot of these things, they might have a negative image, when they speak about the police. But trust me, when they go and have these concerts and these movies and all this other stuff, the police is the first people that they contact.
right. So everybody, you just got the game from a cop and from a promoter insider. So do what you will with it, but we all need law enforcement. We could go on and on about it's like they say, when you first day you're in trouble, you call on Jesus. The next you call the police.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. But you had mentioned a couple minutes back about leadership at the top, the mayor, councils who run the city. With all your time of service, all years of experience, I know you went through that. I can count at least 5, 6 Detroit mayors. Uh,
Uh, yeah. Come to think of it.
so-
Yeah, come to think of. Let's see here. Let me count. Let's see here. One, two, three, four. Yeah, about 5 or 6.
right. So now I'm gonna ask you a question. When it comes to, like you say, leadership, motivating the troops, keeping them clean, honest, policing the police, doing the community actions, etc. What mayor stands out to you as really had a handle on it, and we should maybe take some notes and model, or you know,
I think that a lot of people, didn't misunderstand, but I would have to say Mayor Young.
that's to me that's the coolest mayor of all times, and I
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, he got a lot of heat from, the suburbs when he told the criminals to hit 8 Mile, and they sort of kind of took it the wrong way. But he realized the importance of, well, let's put it, without his leadership,
Mhm.
Detroit's police department would not uh, be represented of the public of the
Right,
city that it served. He's
right.
he's one of the few mayors in the country that was able to get their police department reflective of the communities that it served with his affirmative action program, which was extremely important. And what people don't know, and I can say uh, for certain, that Detroit, at least the police department in Detroit, did not have a lot of the issues that they have in other cities because they were, when something happened, things were addressed.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, my brother put more police officers in jail than probably any other police chief.
Yeah, talking about
You
former,
know,
former.
right? Because you got to keep your house clean,
Right,
your
right,
own house clean, and and so that you cannot erode the confidence of the public.
right. Let me take another station ID real quick. Everybody, you're watching Strictly Business on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And we are privileged to have Hilton Napoleon on right now. And I call him the super cop. You guys Google him, and I'm sure you'll agree and find out with all his experience and everything and his good deeds for the cities that he's worked in, and he's been a frontline cop that I know. The both the Napoleon brothers. I knew the name Napoleon before I ever met either of you guys because you had reputations. The underworld took you guys serious and didn't really want to have the tangle with you, and the citizens respected that you and your brother Benny actually cared about. You did your job, but you actually cared about the people.
Yeah, because I mean, really, me and my brother, we had the same philosophy. Until they uh, provide, mental health services and other things, you just can't arrest yourself out of the problems, that occur in any big city. You know, you want to have businesses come in, which is vital to for every city, so that they could provide jobs for the residents. I mean, Detroit's unemployment rate here in the city is 25%, and which is way too high. And if you can do that uh, and get people employed, then then some of these problems can be addressed.
Hmm. Now, I was doing some research. It's community oriented policing. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
It's kind of a, I don't know, is it fair to call it a justice reform or like exact? Please explain what that actually means.
Basically, community policing is basically the police interacting with the business community, organizing it, block clubs, um, business watch, uh, 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 various community programs to bring the community and the business together.
Okay.
And that's what community policing is, working together. Because without the community, really, the police really cannot function. And
Yeah.
it's imperative that the people get involved in a police department. I know that every police department has a monthly uh, community relations meeting. You would think that it'd be thousands of people, at that meeting. Out in Inkster, I had uh, a monthly meeting that I called Chat with the Chief. I call it Chat with the Chief. And I would go meet with the community, the business people there to address their concerns. So all of that entails, community policing, the
Right.
community, the business, as well as the police.
Okay. And let me ask you this: a culture, I don't know, culture racially. Do you think it's a divide or a blockage with the black brown uh, community that we have uh, unhealthy aversion to the police, whereas in the white suburban communities they kind of get along and support their police, but in our communities, in our urban environments, cities such as Detroit, Flint, Chicago, other places, the black and brown populations, we kind of are against the police. Do you agree with that? And if so, what kind of things, uh, with your experience, what suggestions do you have to for the black and brown communities to be more welcoming and more supportive?
Well, one of the things is here I can't say, because I spent most of my time in Detroit, a lot of times, a lot of those other communities that you see, maybe, throughout the country, their police departments are not reflective of their communities. And so when you go and have abuse, and you do have abusive police officers out there, I will not try to pretend that it doesn't happen. It occurs mostly in the black community, and that's how come you have hostilities throughout the black communities throughout America, where you have officers out here who have been remained unchecked, and because they're being abused, they have negative perceptions of the police department. My thing is that you have to go and have a good relationship instead of appearing to be the enemy. We have a lot of work to do in the police department as well to change the image, because two or three or four or 10 or 15 police officers can destroy the entire image of the police. And this is why you have this hostility. When you see people getting, unarmed people getting shot, it's white officers shooting, black people for the most part. And
Well,
so this is why you have hostilities in the black community. And I understand that.
right,
But the only way to do that is to make sure that there's going to be a level of accountability. And I'm talking about towards the police,
right, right,
because we have to, you can't keep having unarmed citizens, black citizens, getting killed, by the police, and that, you're not getting any justice. They did get justice, in George Floyd, but Tamir Rice, and a lot of other victims, black victims of police, have not gotten justice.
hmm
And so there has to be, and you have to have this, got to come from the top, in the police department. You have
right,
to let the people know that that this is not going to be tolerated
right,
in the police department. You just can't say oops, or I made a mistake, or there has to be accountability in these black communities. And right now, the people are hostile because they are not seeing it.
right. Now, being a middle-aged native Detroiter, born and raised here, I've lived other places, but this is home. Always has and will be. When I look at and get aware of certain incidents and attitudes around the nation with their city police departments, I kind of am happy that Detroit, we don't suffer uh, to the degree that a lot of other communities do, with our police just like running rogue and abusing people and things like that. So I want to ask you, and I'm gonna take Detroit since we're both native Detroiters. What's your report card as of now for the Detroit Police Department as far as their overall service and conduct compared to the rest of the country? What would you give DPD's report card?
Well, I would say that I would give it probably a B plus,
Okay. And
because they're, you know they're the police department is representative of the community. Now, see, Detroit, prior to me coming on, the police department was viewed as an occupied army, you know. But through Coleman Young and his leadership, uh, he turned he he made the developed the police department so that it's reflective of the community. And that's one of the reasons why that we haven't had any real riots or anything, even when officers shoot people. Our citizens have been patient enough, allow us to do the investigations, and they know that officers have been charged, and they will be charged uh, because we have something that is very unique that many of the cities do not, other major cities do not have. We have a black prosecutor, we have black judges, and they understand, that there has to be, accountability within the police department.
Yeah.
And so, I do know, and I've been knowing Prosecutor Kim Worthy for a great number of years. And if an officer is going to do something wrong, she's going to charge him.
Right. Right.
And so I think that Detroit has something that a lot of other communities don't have, because one thing I do know is that Prosecutor Worthy is pro police, but again, the police have to do right.
Right. Now you gave DPD a B plus. You have the the ear of the leader. You can get to Mayor Duggan, right? So, what would you advise the if one thing uh, Detroit could do better in regard to its policing? What would that one thing be? Like that you would say, "Hey, let's make sure we do this now to up that grade to a A." What would you advise?
One of the things that I would do is they have to find resources to hire more police officers. That's what That's what is I would think would be the number one priority. And it's a struggle because, as I said before, you have a lot of young guys out here that don't want to, and police officers are being uh, uh, stressed
Mhm.
throughout the country as far because their numbers are falling. I do know that here in the state of Michigan, they're operating with anywhere between 4 to 7,000 less police officers statewide. When I was the police chief in Inkster, we had to lay off 75% of the police department because of budget issues.
Right.
And so, if you want to make things better and improve, you have to have the numbers to make sure that you can make the businesses and the citizens safe,
Okay.
and especially the citizens,
Right.
because citizens should not have to wait 45 minutes for the police to show up. They should not have to do that. And if you don't have uh, the number of police that you need, then the services are going to suffer.
Indeed. Well, in our last few minutes, I'm gonna kind of run down some things and get your opinion on it. And
Mhm.
one thing I remember, I guess I could call this a community policing action. Back when I was a kid and a teenager, they had the cops that walked the beat in the
Yes.
neighborhood, and we kind of knew some of those cops. Do you think that would be a good idea to
Yes.
have cops
Yeah.
back on?
Oh, most definitely. But you can't do it unless you have the numbers.
Okay.
You see, you can't do it. And see, that's one of the reasons why you had a period of time where you had a real strong police community relations. And because you could interact with the kids. As a matter of fact, when I first came on a job, I walked the beat in the projects, for a year,
Okay.
or before I got to the inside of a patrol car. But one of the things about it is being a uh, young officer at that time, I really enjoyed being out there because you know I'm out there communicating with the kids, talking to them, and they did not view the police as a threat
Right.
like
Right.
like they do now, and stuff. I mean, I had a situation where I locked up one of the. Well, I better not. I better leave this alone. But you know, I, one of the persons that I locked up, they tried to take me out to dinner
Okay. Okay.
because they thought, well, you didn't beat me up. I said, we ain't here for that.
Yeah.
I said, we're not here for that.
Right.
You
It's
know,
like
if you do wrong, you just gotta go.
he
But
he, he,
we're,
he was
you
so
know, so there's a way to handle the community. But because I grew up in Detroit and lived in Detroit, you know, I can tell you this right now. I worked 29 years in Detroit, and I had two complaints filed against me in
okay.
29 years.
That's excellent.
And
Are
one of them was a relative.
there you go. It's
And the
always
other one was a gangbanger,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, out there slinging drugs. And we told him he had to give up his corner, and he didn't like it.
Right. I'm gonna take this.
So,
I'm gonna take this last station ID so we can close out with some more good information.
okay.
Everybody, you're watching Strictly Business on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And I need you personally. I need you all to like, follow, share, subscribe, share this. I mean, I don't think anybody else has went into depth talking about trying to shed some light to understand how our law enforcement, our local police agencies work. You certainly haven't had the experience of Hilton Napoleon uh, edifying you and educating you. So share this with everybody you know. Tell them to watch it on demand in its entirety. So like, follow, share, subscribe, and we're watching Strictly Business. We have Hilton Napoleon live coming in remotely, and let's get back to the interview. Mr. Napoleon, you were talking about the numbers. You said that you agree with the beat, the cops getting back on the beat, walking and being and getting to be personal in those local communities. So what about trying to facilitate that through is the proper term auxiliary police? You know, the reserves, the police
Yes.
reserves.
Yeah,
Could
but even those numbers are down in many areas.
but how does that work? Like for those who maybe have a different career and they just want to help serve their community, like how does the police reserve distinguish from a regular active officer?
Well, first of all, they're not paid, and they do not have arrest powers and duties, but they play a tremendous part in every police department, police reserves. And those that are interested and have the time to do it, I would suggest that they do involuntary because it is rewarding because they get a chance to go out and be a part of the community if you're a community oriented type person, and they can play a very effective part in the police department with crowd control, concerts, and they can provide a presence, and that's something that is important to have. But those numbers are down now. One of the things that I can say while you mentioned about it, I had a very active auxiliary police force in the city of Inkster. They were amazing. These guys got up in the middle of the night when we had crime scenes, shootings, and things, and they would come in the middle of the night and do crowd control and direct traffic because of the limited number of people that we had in there. And they did a tremendous job. And the same thing they in the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. I'm familiar with it. They have a very active reserve auxiliary units too, and they provide a lot of services to the city and the
Okay,
county.
so let me ask you this. Now, what about some municipalities have citizen patrols, uh, deputized community police? Um, do you agree with that? And is that similar as police reserve?
No, you're talking about CB patrols and things of that nature. No, you don't want to deputize them because uh, when you do go and become a reserve, you have to go through an academy,
Okay.
just like the police. You have to have some training, not as extensive as the police, but a reserve actually has training in crowd control, traffic control, and also the law because they got to know what they can and cannot do, and what is the limits of their authority.
Okay.
So they do get trained and they have to go through an academy.
Okay, we're in our last 4 minutes, so I want to get you to touch on a couple other things real quick. Now, we got a lot of in Detroit, and I guess throughout Michigan, open carry, concealed carry, lot of guns out there now, right? I'm a pro gun person. I believe in responsible ownership, etc. Um, do you advocate, would you support or think it's necessary for maybe the city council mayor to have some type of free training where you could come and get gun safety and maybe get some range time, etc.? Would you be open to that or no?
Well, I'm always open to any type of training and education that you can get. I'm not a big fan of open carry, though.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not because he, you know, it puts the police in a very precarious situation when you have people that are openly carrying handguns and rifles and every other thing because you don't know how these how these people are going to react in certain if in certain emergencies or certain situations, and it really puts law enforcement at risk uh, when they have people out there, doing open carry. Now, yeah, I believe that they have a right, to bear arms, but this open carry stuff, I'm not a fan of it from a police perspective
Okay. And
because it's dangerous.
right.
Because one of the classic example, the trial that is going on right now, uh, I believe it's in Wisconsin, where the guy came from another state, came in and shot two people. You
Okay.
know,
I got
it's so it's not a good thing for the police
you. Okay.
and law enforcement.
Lastly, we got 1 minute to get this out. Police commissioners, are you for that? Do you see that as vital and necessary?
Yeah, you want to have a civilian authority uh, uh, to oversee or look at the police because that way you have someone that's independent of the police department, and we always had a pretty good police commission here in Detroit, and also in Highland Park, and so it's important that you do have commissions so that the citizens feel like that the police they have somebody to go to independent of the police.
Okay. And before we go, do you have anything you want to sign off to the public? You got anything to promote? Any way to find you if people want to follow up and talk to you? Wish you well. You have any information for them?
Well, not right now. I'm in the process of publishing a book, and it's about, the very things that are going on now, the shootings, the policing. It will be coming out hopefully by the beginning of the year. And and hopefully I can come back and we can discuss it.
Well, you definitely can come back. You have an open invitation. We had several types of shows that I'm sure you can fit in on some way, but you certainly can come back with me. Just give me a call. And I look forward to seeing you out and about with your full recovery. And I thank you sincerely for being my first guest on this show. It means a lot to me. So thank you.
And thank you. I feel honored. And anytime you like for me to come on, I have no problem.
All right. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. You were watching. I'm your host, Roger Pennsylvania. And this is Strictly Business. It's a new business show that we put on here at the station. We're going to be coming back in January 1st of the year with all types of new lineups and shows and everything. But we wanted to give you a sneak peek, if you will. So that's why we had, I named him the Super Cop. So, everybody, thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Get out there, like, follow, share, subscribe, and give us your comments. Let us know who you want to see on any of our stations. If you got any follow up information for Chief Napoleon, former Chief Napoleon, we can forward that to him. So thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Napoleon. We'll talk to you later on.
Okay, thank you and God bless you.